Welcome to Marketing with Confidence. I'm your host, Marianne Amies. We're going to be talking all things digital and online marketing for business owners and marketing professionals. If you've been feeling overwhelmed by your digital marketing, be sure to listen along and you'll hear tips, interviews and more that will give you the confidence to create marketing you love. Welcome back to another episode of Marketing with Confidence. I'm really excited today to be joined by Kylie Hannaford, speaking everything digital brand execution. How are you going, Kylie?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Look, to kick off, I'd love you to tell everybody about you and how you became so passionate about creating brands.
Great. So I'm Kylie and I'm the founder of 3 Blocks Left Design, which is a branding and design studio. I used to say branding and design studio in Sydney, but we're all fully remote now. So it's taken a while for me to get my head around that. But so we're all over the shop now. But yeah, we work mainly for nonprofits and social impact organizations, but more and more we're working with SMEs that benefit their communities and kind of ethical in their business approach through their company values and and how they treat their people and culture. And how did I become so passionate? I guess I always wanted to be a designer before I really knew what one was. You know, I was always drawing patterns and creating. So I guess like that desire to create was always kind of hardwired into me. But yeah, so that led to me to, you know, I always had like a very clear view of what I wanted my career to be and what I wanted to achieve, which was, you know, such a gift to know what you want to do. But yeah, there's lots of different ways to do that. So starting out in my career, I didn't really create brands from scratch. I much more cut my teeth working with like bigger master brands. So rather than creating them from scratch, it's like interpreting them. And so that might be in brand awareness campaigns or editorial and publications or advertising, that kind of thing. So it's like squeezing the juice out of them, you know, and and figuring out how to use brands in their full expression, expressing new ideas like within that I guess framework that's been set for you in those like master brand visual identity systems. So I think, you know, reflecting on that, that kind of experience and working with brands in that way, and you know, we continue to do so because we work with you know, global nonprofits that have their visual identity set in Zurich. So so that informs and that like looking at brands through that lens, we really have that intuition about how brands need to flex and change, and you know, you need the flexibility but you need the guardrails and kind of how they ebb and flow between those two kind of tenets, I guess.
Yeah, amazing.
Did I answer the question?
I think you displayed a lot of passion for what you do. And, you know, that's the answer within itself. I mean, as you said, like how lucky to know what you want to do from the get-go.
Totally.
Like I had no idea what I wanted to do. And I remember wanting to be a teacher at some point, and then a boyfriend of the
primary
time,
or secondary?
I don't even know if I knew that. But a boyfriend at the time was like, garbage idea, not going to make money. Like, I think that was before like year 12. And then, I remember going to like the what are they called? Careers advisor, and being like, I don't know. Like, I've got to put in uni preferences. I don't know. And they were like, oh, you're doing like 3-unit business and you're really good at maths. Be an accountant. I was like, sure, let's be an accountant.
Yeah, that's right, because you did an accounting.
Well, I started. I started Bachelor of Business, thank God. Like, that is so broad. But I did start working in an accounting firm, and I did like a year and a half working full time in an accounting firm. And yeah, it's wild to think back on that time that I, it was my little 3-piece suits and being an accountant. But yeah, it took me a while. Like, yeah, I guess that working in it, and maybe that's just how I learn as well, like working in it and then studying so many subjects made me go, oh yeah, no, this isn't what I want to do for the rest of my life. But what
if that has set you up, right?
Yeah.
Like to learn how to build a like sustainable, profitable business.
Oh yes, definitely. There were benefits there, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun because every year they took in, I think, like 15 like high school grads. And so like you started working with 15 other 18-year-olds, and we were all being managed by last year's intake. So your manager was like 18. God. It was chaos. It was some of the best corporate working times of my life. Unhinged children managing unhinged. And then within 12 months, you got your own little prodigy. It was, yeah. I mean, that's probably why I stayed for 18 months. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, you're right. Like that took me on that journey of working it out and gave me foundations for business ownership. But no, I always really admire people that know, like they just know. And I mean, I also admire people that are creatively talented and can creatively express things that look good. Other talents I don't possess. But yeah, awesome. All right. So let's get a bit deeper. I'm going to fast fire question you so that everyone can know more about you. So what's your favorite business book?
It's controversial, but I don't really read business books that often. Well, I used to, but yeah, they don't capture me anymore. Yeah. But maybe one that's business adjacent is Be Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert.
Oh, yes. Good.
A bit more, I guess, in the self-help category. But yeah, it's a beautiful book about creativity and harnessing creativity and kind of letting fear and creativity sit side by side. And it's a great book.
Amazing. And being creative, I imagine the inputs you need to succeed are different again, like you need to go and experience creativity in the wild and then have time to permeate on that for inspiration. You have different requirements.
Yeah. I just found, reading, I sometimes think I'm a bit of a anti-business owner, or anti-CEO. Jane Lau is her Instagram handle is like the lazy CEO.
Yes. Yeah.
I really connect with that because I definitely don't get up at 5 a.m. and I don't read business books. But you got to find your own way. Hey.
Yeah, absolutely. What about your best follow? Who do you love to follow on like LinkedIn or Instagram, TikTok? What's your
on Instagram, I've lately really been obsessed with AI architecture.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just, I mean, AI kind of, it scares us, it fascinates us.
Yes.
And so, but like in architecture, they are creating the most stunning kind of building, the built environment and the natural environment, and like how those two can integrate and interplay, and like it's beautiful imaginings. So I'm really enjoying that. And podcasts, probably This American Life. I love the storytelling on This American Life, and maybe Design Matters, which is another one it's one of the first podcasts ever created. She's been going for 15 years.
Wow.
Like before there was a podcast platform, she created this.
Wow.
And her name's Debbie Millman, and she's like the grandmaster of graphic design. And it's a beautiful podcast, and she interviews all types of people about their lives and kind of like the design of life kind of thing. So
amazing. Oh, I love these. They're very I'd say they're first to the podcast recommendations. Things to go check out. And again, I can see that theme of creative inspiration coming through. And then finally, what gets you out of bed each day at a reasonable hour? We are both not 5 a.m.
Very reasonable hour.
We're not 5 a.m.ers. We have that in common. You do push the envelope further than me. We're not. We have lived together for a week twice in our life now, and we are both not the early risers. You are
not the first one.
No, I'm not a night owl, and I'm not an early riser. You're a night owl and an early riser. No, and a late riser. So what is your motivation to get out of bed each day? What gets you?
I think just like all of us, just a bit of blind optimism that, today's the day, I won't mess it up. Today I'll get that thing done.
Yeah. I love it. Ignorance is bliss. Yeah. You have to hang on to that.
You do. And of course coffee, but I feel like that's a very obvious answer.
Yeah, I mean, coffee always. Coffee and dogs, because you've also got an adorable dog that I'm sure helps to get out of bed.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I guess a little bit like myself, you've had a long history in the design space and a long history of creating high impact brands. I don't have a long history in that, but, definitely a long history in marketing. And I think we've lived through change, we're of a certain age and have had a, certain career where we've lived through some change.
Ladies of a certain age.
So, how have you had to shift your approach over the last decade with the evolution of the digital landscape? What's that meant from a design point of view?
Yeah, so for me, like looking back on it, I feel like, 15 years ago, unless you were kind of a major enterprise player, you could really just get away with having like a nice, neat logo and one color, maybe a secondary color, and kind of that was it. Like that was kind of your brand. And brand strategy, it didn't really exist for like in that SME business. You always had your vision, mission, values, but that sat more in your kind of business plan or your business strategy. And it wasn't really about like expressing a personality or finding your unique position in the market from a personality or an expression point of view. So to my mind, like, as you say, the evolution of that digital landscape, it's meant like globalization. And then, those barriers to entry to creating small business have been lessened and lessened. So you can DIY a website, you can DIY branding, you can, you've got Canva, you've got drop shipping options, like all of that has meant like there's this proliferation of small businesses and products and services that in essence are quite similar. In what they're offering. And so brand is really like the single most important tool that you have in your arsenal to like stand out in that noise. And so I think the focus on brand and standing out and what's your personality and what's your unique selling point, all of that stuff has really deepened, and there's been a much clearer focus on that. So that would be kind of the first thing. And then, of course, it's how deep your brand can go and how wide your brand can go. So it's like the brand needs to evolve and adapt to all these different social media landscapes, Google, all the things, all the touch points. There's so many touch points now that just weren't there 15, 10 years ago. And so you need to have these brands that ebb and flow within that. And that can do so in a way that, always kind of pulls back to that North Star, because you really need to always be coming back to like, what is it that, makes you unique in the marketplace?
Yeah. I think you make a really good point as well about the traditional brand was like a logo, a color, maybe a secondary color. I mean, we still get so many clients come to us to build a website that, you know, might be professional services, might be quite a traditional brand, and the logo comes in, it's 2 colors, and then I'm like, what other color can we use? You know, do you have style guidelines? Like, do you have other colors? It's going to be a very bland website with just navy and gold.
Yeah, but it really was like that.
Yeah.
You know, it really, you did, because you just didn't need that
you
much
didn't
more.
need it. Because you had letterhead, you had a business card, maybe at some point you had a pull-up banner.
Yeah, exactly.
Like services space, you know. So why would I need highlight colors, and, you know, why would I need to maybe have devices, you know, branding devices or graphic elements that then can make social posts interesting but branded, and, you know, all those other executions tie back into it, as you said, North Star. I love that term. Tie back into that North Star, but build on that as well.
Yeah, like you just didn't have to create the kind of content that you do now.
No, and not in so many different formats.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it's changed a lot.
And I imagine, you know, with every brand that you develop, you've got a clear vision of how it's going to execute across those channels, because things have evolved and you know, the way things have shifted. You're now thinking in that multidisciplinary or, you know, broad landscape approach. And we recently worked together on a website for a brand that you had developed. And, you know, I think we had some great conversations through that around the chicken and egg of design versus content. And, you know, what comes first? Can you now design for a website or, you know, digital execution without understanding the content or what you need to display or cover? And, you know, I guess love to hear your reflections on that and how, you know, maybe your thinking around that has shifted as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that was an interesting one, wasn't it? Because you would think, you know, as designers that we would love, you know, if a client says we want it to be design led, that would be like music to our ears and what we would want.
Yeah.
But you know, and I have reflected on this, like, you know, many times, and recently on this project. But I think at the end of the day, you know, if something's design led, like essentially it's like art, like design by its very nature is amplifying some message. It's saying, look at this, you know, it's not design. There's a quote that says design should say, look at this, not look at me.
Oh, wow.
So design really is about amplifying a message or connecting a brand message with a consumer or a client or whoever, its audience. So without a content, or at least a content objective, you know, it's really just art. But then on the flip side, if something is content led, it can diminish the power of the brand, because 100%. You know, if you're saying I need 500 words on this Instagram tile, that's just not going to work. No matter how good your designer is or how good the brand is, it's not going to work. So I think it's a hybrid approach in the end. Like, I think it's about communication between a designer and a client, and saying, this is what I want to communicate. Here's 500 words, but I know that's not going to fit. So can you read it and disseminate it and create something that's going to communicate that? So I think it's more about the communication objective rather than sending the content and making it fit.
Yeah, I think, like, it's a good point. It's about that collaboration, and that's, you know, that's even an evolution. You know, I think designers, you know, both of 10 years ago was really like, this is the design, and I challenge you to complain, critique, give feedback. You know, designers used to be so precious, and obviously not everyone, not all types, but, you know, that was kind of I remember back in corporate, it was kind of like, well, don't piss off the designer and say it's not right, you know, if you said, you know, we don't think this is it. It was sort of like, how dare you? Whereas I think, you know, everything now is more collaborative.
Sorry, I'm just laughing.
No offense. here.
No offense. No, it's true though. Like you do kind of get that beaten out of you in the first like 2 years of your career. You like, can't be too precious about anything.
Yeah, but I think it's, you know, again, it's that collaboration, and it's almost like everybody involved in the project. You know, a web developer can't get too caught up on the technical aspect of what they want it to do, because it still has to be user friendly. And, you know, a designer can't get too caught up in the pure brand vision, because it has to, as you said, communicate something. And then, you know, the copywriter can't get too caught up in all the words they want to put on a page, because it has to, you know, look good, and it still has to have great UX, and it has to be technically possible. So I think that, you know, that digital execution of a brand, it then becomes the work of all those people together, you know, and that role of sort of everyone sanity checking everyone's input to come out with something really beautiful but effective.
Yeah, the most elegant solution.
Yes, to 500 words on an Instagram post.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I think collaboration is the key, right?
Yeah.
And respecting that everybody in their profession is doing, is coming at it with the skills, but also like the mindset of the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And their own personal objectives.
Yeah, 100%. And that is exactly right. Like, you know, in design, in even in marketing, that is what gets beaten out of you. You know, you own your expertise, but then you also need to know when to flex and when to, you know, go, all right, well, this is what I'm really passionate about, but I can see from your point of view, this is what is important for your, you know, your business objective maybe. So how can we then flex a solution around that that's going to, you know, be the best of all those things together?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Collaboration.
Who thought collaboration?
Who would have thought it?
Talking, working together, which is kind of the nice bit anyway. You know, I think nothing is produced well in silos, you know, and even thinking back to those questions and you know, you being so motivated by the inspiration that you find in places, you know, that's a form of collaboration as well. You know, that's you collaborating with the, you know, the environment around you and with the inputs around you to get better outcomes and to see more, do more, feel more. So I think that collaboration is obviously the key.
Absolutely.
Well, obviously, I want to get as much goodness out of you in this episode as possible. So I wanted to also ask you, what are your top tips for business owners? So, you know, thinking about when they're taking a brand and they're trying to make it shine online, which we know is multifaceted and, you know, has lots of little nuances. What are your top tips, especially for small business owners trying to bring that to life?
I think that if we're talking specifically on digital, so like more like the social EDM kind of stuff, and your website, is that kind of the ballpark? Yeah. I think that, like, I know that it can be tricky to hire graphic designers to do all of that stuff for you. But if you can get a graphic designer to set you up with templates, I think that would be my top tip, if you don't already have them. Or I guess, reversing back, if you don't have a brand, when you are creating your brand, look for a designer that their work that they're showing you or that they're showing online, that it does adapt, that you can see how it's being applied to a multitude of different mediums. That would be my, and that when they hand the brand back to you, that you understand how it works.
Yeah.
So that it's not just like, oh, wow, that looks really good, the way that they've designed all that, but that you understand if you're not going to have an ongoing relationship with your designer, which I understand can be, especially when you're starting out, can be cost prohibitive, have a deep understanding of how it all works and how it all puts together, because there is a system at play, and it's not just about that color with that color, like there is that, or that font with that font. Like, they work in a system. So make sure you understand that system. And get them to set it up in Canva for you, get them to create some templates for you so that you can confidently put that out into the world. Nothing breaks a designer's heart more than when you create beautiful brand and brand guidelines and execute, like, you know, and then you hand it over and then they go, we've got a new brand. And then they put the logo like on white background and like put on a tie, and you're just like,
that's not what we said.
That is not what happened.
I don't want to put my name to that now.
So make sure you understand it and how it works, and and if you don't, get them to explain it.
No, I love that. And I think I just did a little reel this morning on the pitfalls of Canva. And, you know, I think so often people go a bit wild with Canva. It can, you know, I think it's brought some amazing access to, you know, design for non-designers, but then it can also just be a black hole, because it's kind of like, you know, when you empower somebody with something they really shouldn't be touching, you know, and I think there's a lot that can go wrong. But I think that idea of having a professional create you templates and investing in Canva so that you have your brand kit in Canva, so that your logos are in there, your colors are in there, your fonts are in there, and then your designer actually make you a suite of templates and you just stick to that and don't get carried away with, you know, other little Canva temptations. I think that there are good outcomes there, but I think Canva has also created many a dog's breakfast where people just don't understand how to honor their brand when there's so much creative freedom given to them on that platform.
Yes, totally. Yeah, Canva can really help a brand get out and create all that content. But as you say, it's like it's just like people take one step to the left and then one step to the left and then one step to the left. And then all of a sudden they're a kilometer away from this beautiful brand that they invested a lot of money and time and energy into creating, because Canva lures them in with, you know, a new template.
With template suggestions. I will go back as well on what you said at the very beginning, or, you know, in this point around, you know, in starting by working with a designer, investing in a brand. And I think the important point to that as well is a brand isn't a logo. And I think, you know, we so often see on, you know, women in business community boards or business community boards, I need someone to create me a logo. I need a logo for this, how much? I need a logo for that, how much? And a logo, it almost ties right back into what we started with, talking about the evolution of brands. A logo on its own is almost worth nothing. You'd be better off just doing the Microsoft clip art, because
honestly, unless a logo is relating back to like a master, unless it's a sub brand, then I could understand just a logo. But you're right. Like, it doesn't mean anything. You can't get away with it anymore.
No, I think that's a fabulous point. And I even think my thinking shifted about that over the last decade, where I used to say to people, you've got a logo, that'll be okay. Now it's kind of like, no, you need a brand. And I think it's so hard at the start to invest the money, but it's kind of, it's starting the way you want to go. You know, it's starting with the end goal in mind. But you know, it's also, it gives you confidence. Like, I'll admit, I made myself a dodgy little logo when we got started. It's beautiful. I had it for like 4 to 5 years, bless that little thing. And then when I actually invested in getting my logo redone and, you know, like that kind of mini rebrand, I felt more confident. I didn't feel embarrassed. I didn't feel, you know, and I know you've had this conversation with other people on podcasts around what a rebrand can actually do for you. You know, it actually, you know, having a professional brand with a fully fleshed out brand identity, it actually lets you play in a whole different space. And it's not even just what people think of you then, it's actually what you think of yourself and how serious you begin to take your business when it looks the part as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. It just really propels you. I always see people walking away from with their brands and they just propel forward. And in business, we so need that energy behind us. We so need to believe in ourselves and our brands and what we're offering the world. And presenting something really professional, really cohesive. It really just it puts you on that next level. It really does.
Absolutely. Yeah, you really can't underestimate the impact of a brand. And I think, you know, the message I've got from chatting to you today and reinforces, especially now in the digital space.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, like, can you think of anything that could make you stand out in the digital space? With a product, say you were launching a skincare product or whatever.
Yeah.
There's so much skincare out there. What could you do to make yourself stand out apart from have an absolutely incredible brand with a brand voice?
Absolutely. Like, you wouldn't try the product if it looked crap. Like, you wouldn't.
No.
Like, it's silly. But I we were in the middle of sort of helping a client launch like an e-com brand at the moment. And even it's a beautiful brand, but I keep sort of saying nobody buys these things the first time they see it. They need to be, you know, taken on this journey to conversion. But imagine that when the brand looks crap. Like, if you've got shitty packaging and an ugly brand, unfortunately, you've already put so many barriers to, you know, the core of digital, building trust and credibility. Until you build trust and credibility, people will not buy from you. Now, you can start, you know, 10 blocks down the road with a crappy brand, or you can actually start 10 blocks ahead by starting with a brand that people stop, you know, the scroll stop and go, oh, what's this? Oh, what's that?
Yeah. And I think it's about as well, like, you know, you're talking about, you know, there's that data that people need to see your brand like 7 times, right, before they'll buy. And if you think about it that way, like, you know, presenting your brand 7 times in, you know, potentially 7 different ways, but in a way that always, again, connects back to that North Star, as we were talking about, you know, that's your ticket.
Yeah, 100%. And that consistency, you know, when everything looks the same, when you see the amazing product and you go to the website and it looks just as beautiful, and then the packaging arrives and it mirrors, like, that is the ultimate satisfaction. You know, no post-purchase dissonance. Like, I bought into the right thing. Even if the skincare doesn't work, I'm sold. It's, look at me, I look amazing. I must, because this packaging is beautiful. Throw some merch in, and we are like, it's quite easy. It's quite easy to market.
A Tim Tam.
Oh, yeah, put a Tim Tam in the box. Actually, I have to say, I don't like the Tim Tam in the box, Adore Beauty.
I don't either. Well, because I try not to eat too much sugar, and then it's like, well, now what am I meant to do with this?
I have to admit, no, I do eat the sugar, but I just don't like chocolate in the mail. I don't know. It's traveled in the mail. Like, I have a hygiene. I give it to my kids. I literally gave it to my son last night. I was like, here, have a Tim Tam. It came in this package and I refused to eat it. They're young. They can weather the storm. But I don't know. I have like it just feels yuck. I don't know why.
Have an ick.
Yeah, I have an ick. And it should be such a cute little, like, oh, I got a Tim Tam. But I'm like, ew.
It's not for you.
No. And I'm not a germaphobe.
Strange little critter, aren't you? You've got a few icks.
I've got some quirks. I definitely have some. Look, I'm an individual. I stand by it. No, I know. I should. But anyway, sorry, we digress. To anybody that's chocolate or lollies, like, other people like it. I think it's just me. It's my individual ick on that. But I still think it's cute to receive. That's not for me. I love minis. Give me mini samples of anything, and love me. Love it.
I think you can actually opt in for a mini now instead of the Tim Tam.
Oh no, I could have used this advice 3 days ago when I placed my order. Don't worry, I'll be back soon. I'll make another order. But yeah, I you know, again, but even that, like, that's brand as well, right? Like, that's a brand promise. You know,
we all know who we're talking about.
Yeah, I know. I know. When you said Tim Tam, I was like, I know that I had that purchase arrive yesterday. And that's brand. Like, that's memorability, that's customer experience. And I think, you know, that comes back to the whole thing. That makes you fills you with feelings, fills you with satisfaction, that makes you go back again. And I think that's what a good brand does.
Yeah, that surprise and delight.
Yes, 100%.
The little boop on the nose.
It was worth all that money I spent because I got a little.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much. It's been such a good chat. And I think it's such a, not a unique way to talk about brand, but I don't always hear people talk about brand in this way. So I think it's a really accessible viewpoint on brand and gives especially small business owners some real food for thought about where they should be investing and just how critical that brand is today, you know, across digital as well.
Yeah, cool. I hope it's been helpful and entertaining.
Always. Thank you so much. I'm going to put in the show notes where people can follow you and find you. But obviously, it's 3 blocks left on Instagram is your main channel of preference. So, yeah, thank you so much. And, yeah, thanks, everyone, for listening, and look forward to talking to you again soon. Hey, thanks for listening to another episode. If you don't want to miss one, make sure you subscribe to the show in your podcast app. And if you love it, be sure to share it with friends and colleagues who you think could benefit from increasing their digital marketing confidence. Want more? Head to marianneamies.com to find out how you can work with me directly, to reach out to have me speak at your event, or to grab yourself some free resources.